everyone, and welcome back to the Movie Amigos podcast. This is Gila.
This is Josh.
This is Uwe.
And today we are going to talk about Uwe's movie pick, which we were very excited to get through. We were very excited to watch. And you want to do us the honors, Uwe?
Yes, Stuart Little,
I loved it.
the third one.
Oh.
There's a third one?
I
don't
watched
even
the
know.
wrong two.
There might even be four, but at that point, it's like
Maybe.
it's definitely not Michael J. Fox.
You got that right.
Inglourious Basterds.
Yay! Yes, Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds. Now, I didn't do my research because I'm terrible. What year did that come out, Josh?
2009.
Woo! See, Josh is on
And
top of
also,
it.
there are 3 Stuart Littles, not 4.
Oh, that sucks. I really wanted to see that fifth one.
Well,
Make it.
it's going to be like a
Fourth
Home
and the
Alone
fifth.
situation.
No, just make the fifth one, not the
Oh,
fourth.
skip the fourth.
Just
Yeah, who
don't
cares
even.
about that?
Just make it a fifth.
Did you know there's 5 Home Alone movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Crazy,
knew
right?
that. I don't like Home
They
Alone.
ran that into the ground, bro.
I don't like Home Alone.
We can
period.
we can do the 6. We'll be the Sticky Bandits. She'll be the Home Alone girl.
Okay.
I
You be Kevin?
guess. I don't like
Or
Home
I can be
Alone.
Home Alone. You guys can be the Sticky Bandits. Or the Wet Bandits. Whichever. We gotta make a new
Hila,
one.
you want to be wet or
The
sticky?
Fluffy Bandits.
I don't want to. Either one.
Okay.
I don't like the Home Alone movies because of the violence.
Oh, really?
Which is funny because
Which
we
is funny.
watched
Yeah,
Inglourious
Inglourious
Basterds.
Basterds. Glorified violence.
I know, which was funny. But this movie, I'm glad we picked it because this is one of my sister's favorite movies.
Mhm.
She loves this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen it before once, but it was so long ago. And then the second time around that I watched it with my sister, she watched it. I knocked out. As you guys know, I fall asleep. So I was like, this time around, I didn't remember a lot of the plot. I didn't remember the thing. I just remembered glimpses of like little scenes. So it was like I was watching it for the first time, which was very much enjoyable.
Yeah, the first time I watched it was when it came out, when it first came out. I was in middle school or high school, probably high school. And yeah, I haven't seen it since until last night that I rewatched it. But it was all burned into my memory. Every scene that was coming up, I was saying some of the lines, like I remembered, it came to me as I was watching it. It was such a weird feeling.
Interesting.
And yeah, this movie to me, I guess it had an effect, it made an impression on me for sure.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, for me, I'd seen it a few times already. I don't remember when was the last time I saw it, but this time around, yeah, it's every time I see it, I enjoy it that much more. I find something new, find something new to enjoy it in it, and it's great revisiting the performances and the tension, and yeah, it's a good time.
Yep.
So why did you pick this movie?
I think I picked it because I think it was just online. It was popular. People were reviewing it.
Yeah.
And we were thinking like, oh, what movie are we going to watch? And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I want to watch that again. So I chose it.
Yeah, actually, weirdly enough, when we decided, I think that that whole week, everyone was posting about it. Everyone. I was like,
Yeah.
is this like an anniversary? Like, did it come out?
It could be that. I don't know why.
I don't
but
know.
I think that's the reason I chose it.
Oh, I mean, it's a great pick. As we know, Josh's picks are usually based on weird stuff.
Yes.
So I just wanted to know why you picked it, but it was a good choice. I really, really liked it. So I guess since technically it wasn't a first watch, maybe we can just start talking about things we liked, or maybe things we didn't like, because I feel like that's less. So for me, obviously the violence.
Okay, so you weren't super into that.
No, I get it. I mean, Tarantino is known for his violence. It's like he thrives in it or something. And I don't know. I just feel like it was unnecessary. I don't know. I mean, I guess I was prepared for it, but even a couple times I had to look away because I was like, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I think that would just literally be the only thing I didn't like. Oh, right. And the feet. Right?
Okay, I'm glad you said that because that was gonna be the first thing I mentioned.
So
yeah.
I never knew the whole feet thing until y'all told me about it like a while back, and now every time I see a Tarantino film, that is the thing that stands out the most, and now
Mhm.
it makes me very uncomfortable because I don't like feet.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
that was the thing. I just was like, no, I don't like that.
I can relate. I wrote down in my notes the close up to his knee when he asked for her foot, though, and then the note under it is, oh right, the foot fetish, and then like a
Yeah.
vomiting emoji.
Right. Because one thing is like, oh, because I thought he was gonna like torture her or something, which there is like there's a reason behind it. I can understand it, but the fact that that is in the it's known, it makes it creepy.
Yeah.
I don't like
That
it.
didn't even cross my mind.
Oh yeah.
It crossed my mind on Kill Bill, because
Oh yeah.
there's definitely
it's
like
all over.
there's
This
the
is
scene where
probably
she's trying to get her feet to, to get feeling back, and
Yeah.
it lingers on her feet for like a half an hour.
yeah yeah. You're
But in
right.
this one, it was just he was asking for her foot because he wanted to see it.
No,
but
which
I
makes
guess now that I'm
sense.
thinking about it, the shoe clicking into her heel, I guess
And
there's like
then
a
when she's
ASMR to it. I guess
when she's like dying, it's like just her foot.
Mhm.
It's like, okay,
Oh, I didn't notice that.
it's
Yeah.
very
It's
noticeable.
just her foot when she's dying.
Yeah, it's just you see like the behind shot. Could have been in any angle, but it was just the angle was
Interesting.
just her foot.
Mhm.
And I'm like,
Didn't even realize that.
they're not hideous, but that's still weird to me. Just because.
Yeah, it's probably the best integration of a foot fetish that I've seen in a movie.
Yes, I guess
Seamless.
that's a good way to
But-
put it.
That's not something I'm looking for in my movies.
Hmm.
Also.
Right. I mean, it is his right. He can put whatever he wants in
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And
That
it's not
is
the
his-
first. I will say it's not the first, action or suspense movie to involve bare feet as like a motif. Even
Right.
I mean,
But even then, there's movies like The Quiet Place, right? A Quiet Place, where specifically they have to walk barefoot because it's easier for them to feel where they're going. It goes well with the plot.
hmm
So, yeah. Feet.
Yes, I do think it's done a little better in The Quiet Place, not in a fetishistic way.
Right.
So-
That to me, that's what that is. Now, if you like that, you know what? More power
right?
to
Yeah.
you.
Then this,
Enjoy
then it probably
it.
hits different.
Please have whatever you want. That's on you. But I just don't like feet. I just don't like them.
My title for the episode will be Inglourious Basterds and Feet.
Oh
which is
no!
great.
Inglorious
I think it's awesome.
Feet.
It's gonna.
Turds.
Oh yes. We need to do
Wait,
that.
what is it?
Inglorious feet turds.
Oh my goodness! I mean, we can if you want. If it gets more clicks, right?
Hey,
Or
yo.
listens.
Click that shoe in.
Ty
You know
Quentin.
what I'm saying?
Quentin.
Is there anything that you can think of that you didn't like about it?
For me, it's really I agree with Hila. The violence is a little bit too much, but other than that, but that's like I went into the film knowing it already, knowing that
Yeah.
about Quentin's films. Quentin, like I know him.
Yeah.
He's your
Mr.
bro.
Our
Tarantino,
homie. He texts you.
Sir Tarantino's films. I knew that would go in, so I expected it. But maybe if like I hadn't watched it before, then I'd say, okay, that's very gruesome.
Yeah.
Okay, like Hitler being like getting to spoilers, he being shot up.
Yeah, that didn't bother me.
That's very interesting. That there was the bat. Oh, I guess.
Well, no, for me, I think what I didn't like was the more believable violence.
Okay.
Mhm.
If that makes
Right.
sense, because
Yeah,
if you're
that does make
like
sense.
when I'm watching a movie with like horror or like that has a lot of gore, it doesn't bother. Like Final Destination doesn't bother me.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's for me, it's more of like realistic,
Yeah.
violent. Like that happens.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like
Yeah, I see what
the
you mean.
Hitler scene wasn't a big deal. Like okay, but like scalping people, also they're not alive, so it's not a big deal. But you know what I mean? But like or getting shot is a quick thing, but it's like more of like the slow death in a realistic manner. That's what makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because then I think about it and I'm like, I wouldn't want to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's how it goes for me. I'm like, would I want to die like that? Absolutely not. I'd rather get shot or one day just die off as an old person, right?
Mhm.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Or quick and gone. I wouldn't want to have like a death where I get beaten with a bat and die. I don't want that, right?
And
that sounds
and
terrible.
the film does, in filmic language, like glorify
Mm-hmm.
those moments.
Yeah.
Like one last hurrah, like I'm going out in a giant explosion and taking 100 people with me,
Yeah.
and shooting them all in a movie theater, and it's not, the best message, the best takeaway at the end of the movie to be like, and that's the way to do it,
Yeah.
Right.
But I did notice, which I mentioned to you yesterday, their want for like the blood of these Nazis, they'd come back and bite them in the butt, like they died.
Yeah.
Like the bear Jew, right? That's his name,
Yeah.
and the other one, when they were shooting up the audience trying to run away from the balcony, they were shooting them up. They got lust for killing these people, and so that the dynamite under the Führer's, Hitler's, seat, they died because of it. They could have easily just killed Hitler and left.
Yeah.
Actually,
didn't.
the things were attached to their legs, so they knew they were gonna die. They had
Didn't
shown
they
up
leave
there.
them under the seats?
No, he did. Landa, he's the one that put him there.
Yeah, Landa put him there, yeah. But
And Landa, because he put the dynamite that he took from Brad Pitt's character, Aldo.
So it was a suicide mission.
Yes.
Oh.
From all of them.
I thought they left them under
No.
the seat where they sat down originally.
No.
I thought
they
I don't
had
know
him
why I
attached
thought
to
that.
their legs.
Yeah, I'd have to rewatch it closely. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
because
it is in a blink of an eye that it happens too.
It's very quick, and I did think of that as well because I was like, they can just leave.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
But I do remember that, and then they also bring it up again when Landa's having that conversation with Aldo. They were like, I can make this phone call, and the men that have their grenades strapped to their legs, so blah blah blah. So like it's a dynamite or whatever the heck, the bombs. So they were going on a suicide mission, like 100%. Now, were they gonna leave him somewhere and then leave? Possibly, but I don't think they cared.
At that point, right? Because
Yeah.
that's what I was saying. They got that vicious lust for killing these people. They got entrapped, or they got wrapped up in it.
Yeah,
and they
that's
got the
true.
best of them. That's what I was thinking.
And I to an extent understand the willingness to have like an unflinching attitude towards Nazis, like a we don't tolerate Nazis, like
Right.
that's something that I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. So like the movie gets like a half pass where it's like, okay, I can accept not supporting Nazism, but then it's like, the means and methods are where I'm like, on the fence. And for me, one of the things about the movie that it just, you get lost in it, you get lost in the story, and you get invested in the story, but there are points that I like come back to reality, and like, this was like, World War II and the Third Reich, like it all was like a real thing that affected millions of people. And maybe not that I mind revisionist wish fulfillment history cinema, but it can, if it's not done tactfully or tastefully, it can go down a wrong path. I don't think this movie does that too much. I think that it is pretty I don't know if I should say elegant, or it does handle things a certain way, not just like, not in a brutish way necessarily, despite the nature of the bastards and the spelling of the name and everything.
Yeah.
But I do think that it is something that to be very careful with when it comes to real life tragedies, that I would come back to my thoughts throughout the movie and be like, and be taken out of it just thinking of the reality of Hitler and whatnot. That would take me out of the movie sometimes. I don't know if that makes sense.
But you think it was handled more?
I do think the movie did in the sense that we're like I felt uneasy about Titanic. Going in, I was
right.
like, this is like a real disaster that affected hundreds of people, thousands of people, and I didn't know how the movie would handle it with grace or whatnot. But it won me over. Like, this was one of those things too that I went and like, even this watch, I was like skeptical and like looking out for like what message is it gonna send. But overall,
So how would you compare it to Jojo Rabbit?
I think it did better than Jojo Rabbit.
Because
in
they are
that sense.
different tones.
Yeah.
Even though they both lean
Yeah,
towards humor.
Yeah, exactly. This is
So-
like a black humor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is it, and something I really like about this movie is its sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it's like a really dark, like cynical, like bureaucratic, like people in power just letting themselves be foiled by their own hubris. Like that's good to watch, and that's fun to see people just who deserve it just slowly collapse and destroy. Whereas seeing Hitler, you know, making jokes is like, for me, like too childish for me to like take seriously any other point of the movie in Jojo Rabbit.
I see.
I don't know if that. Yeah, I mean,
I just wanted to quick
no,
comparison.
I love Jojo Rabbit. And it was funny because I watched both. My sister equally loves both Jojo Rabbit and Inglourious Basterds. She just loves these two movies. And I think that we talked about that. I was like, it's so interesting how this Hitler is like, you know, a little. It's obviously more realistic in the fact that he, you know, I never knew the guy, but obviously terrible person.
Mm-hmm.
My sister was like, yeah, that guy was definitely friends with Satan. Like, we were talking about that,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're like, oh no, 100%. That guy was terrible. But then bringing up Jojo Rabbit, I think that it is a different tone because it's supposed to be childish, right? If you want to talk to people about that time, it'll be a lot easier to show them Jojo Rabbit over Inglourious Basterds.
Okay.
Right? If you want to, and like I said, obviously it's not accurate either way, but if you
Mhm.
want to at least in a way teach people or bring even, because I feel like also Jojo Rabbit is rated PG-13, I believe.
I think you're right.
And it's starting children. So you can definitely show this to a younger audience, so obviously it's not like a versus, but I do understand why you wouldn't like Jojo Rabbit compared to Glorious Bastards 100%, because it's like you shouldn't make Hitler funny or childish because he wasn't, but at the same time that's when Taika's genius shows, because he was able to do it in a way that even throughout the film, by the end, Hitler started to show his true colors. True colors, quote unquote.
Yeah.
For a child, because it wouldn't work out. Right,
yeah.
Because it's a child's perspective. If you had like a 20-year-old like this, but like, no, honey, you're not getting, this is a different thing. Right? Inglourious Basterds, they're full adults. Like at that point.
Yeah.
No, that would not work at all. That's why I have to agree, even though there's violence and stuff, I really like this movie. Because I was like, you know what? Violence isn't the answer, but like, they are Nazis.
Right. So that is his way of justifying
Right.
the
Which,
goriness of it.
right. Which, like I said, I think now we can just kind of talk more about just the story in general. I think that was something I kind of was thinking about throughout watching this. I'm like, is there justification for both parties being equally terrible? Well, not what I mean equally terrible within this film. I'm not talking history-wise.
Okay.
I want to make that clear because I don't want people to come out and be like, what do you mean? No. I'm talking film-wise.
Okay.
These Nazis are horrible soldiers that killed people for no reason. Because I like the analogy of the beginning where they compared Jewish people to the rats. And like, why do you hate rats and not squirrels? You just don't like them. And the way that was done was like, yeah, that was great. I was like, that's terrible, but...
It's terrible, but the way they did it, yeah, that's how they would think of it.
Yeah,
That's how the
it
propaganda was used.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like, oh, it was just like, we just don't like them. Like, that's... Wow, you know? So then you come from that, but then you're like, man, those people do deserve to get killed, right? They deserve it. But then it's like, but they're also human. So, like, who are we as humans to tell who dies and who doesn't, right? At that point, even though, obviously, what the Nazi people are doing is terrible, like, then, like, who are you as an American to come and kill these people the way you're doing?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to make a statement. It's not about fighting a war to free a country. It's about, like, I get revenge with what I want.
Yeah, and it being Americans specifically that, like, save the day, was kind of part of the whole revisionist history that I mean, America did play a part in the end of World War II, but not as much as we would like to think.
I guess
a lot of,
I kind of disagree in the sense of it in Brad Pitt's character, yes, but his mission was to get the Jewish people to be the ones to get the revenge because his little militia
That's
was filled
right.
with American Jewish guys.
Yeah, and
actually not even German Jews as well, and Austrian Jews or whatever. The other
Just
ones
Jewish people.
Jewish people.
Yeah, you're right. And not just that, they had other. It wasn't like they were the only ones, fighting this war. It was the UK was in on it. Other double agents.
That's true.
Right.
And France, people from France.
Yeah, and other German people
so
as well.
it was a team effort in the movie as well. And I think the character of Wilhelm is how you say it, the guy who was celebrating at the bar because his son was just born or had a birthday
Max.
or whatever. Yeah, I
Max.
think that character was the closest this movie gets to like nuance about how Nazism is something that might not be, it might be a factor of culture, as it did the most to humanize a Nazi in that moment that movie did, and not in a bad way. I don't mean that in a bad way, because there's films that I've watched where they'll try to humanize terrorists involved in a terrorist attack or things like that, and I think that's tasteless because it makes them sympathetic, and I think this movie dances the line with Wilhelm and with the guy who was accosting the projectionist, the cinema owner.
Oh yeah.
With making them just on the edge of like, I kind of, and then like making you almost feel something, and then like
you mean the famous soldier?
Yeah, the actor.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because there are moments where you're like me being a guy who has tried to get a girl's number or whatever and getting turned out, I was like, oh man, that sucks. But like, oh well, I mean, I don't really care because he's a Nazi though. And then in those moments I realized like, oh man, the movie is kind of like really nuanced in its depiction of sometimes people are in these situations and it's not like they have any sort of way of getting out, and the best that someone can do is be in Landa's position and just be corrupt and get killed or for it anyways, or be scarred for life anyways by it. So
yeah, I think that you make a good point. I don't really watch a lot of movies based around this time just because I don't like watching it. I have read multiple books though in the subject just because I just want to know. And I feel like one of the hardest things that you can do as a writer is to be able to bring to life characters that walk the line where because you don't want to be like, oh, like poor guy, he's a Nazi, right? Because you have to do it in a way that you're like, okay, these people have a choice, but at the same time it's like you can kind of understand where they are, because there's obviously, this is not like, I don't want to go into like a history thing, but
yeah, and I'm getting way too political in this. I feel like as well.
But it's fine. But
I prefer it that way because we're saying things about the movie that other people haven't said, and so
that's
we're
true.
not like repeating things that other people have said.
That's true. But I do agree. I think that those two characters specifically that you mentioned, I think for me the scene of this actor guy, I don't remember his name, Frederick. That's his name.
Zoller, I think, or something like that.
Zora, it's with a Z or something. Anyway,
Private First Class Frederick.
Yeah, he. I think for me the scene that kind of got to me because he's just a guy that sees a cute girl, right? And I thought that was so interesting too because she's Jewish. The second he would have known that she was Jewish, it would have been like, ew.
Wow, you know what?
True.
That's
right.
Yeah.
But even within that, you can tell like it doesn't matter if you're Jewish or not. Right? He was still attracted to her. She's cute. She likes movies. That's literally why he also approached her, because he's an actor. He likes film. She owns a cinema. So he was like, ooh, we have things in common. Like, it was just kind of like, it doesn't matter if I happen to be German or whatever and that you're Jewish. Believe me, I've seen some weird love stories out there. in like fiction and right. But then this was used in a way that was really nicely shown, because obviously she's not gonna be like, oh, this is gonna be the best love story ever, because that's not the point. Obviously, if a handsome guy is hitting on you, but you're Jewish and your entire family got slaughtered by the German party, you're not gonna do that. Right. I feel like at that point you're scarred for life, and you're not gonna be like, it's okay if we fall in love. There's more to that, right? There's more like deep things behind it. Just like if he would have found out that she was Jewish, or no, she would have been dead instantly. Even if she was cute, it wouldn't matter. So I just thought that it was so interesting how they used that in a way to lead the plot. Make them come together, because they moved this cinema to this, like, they moved to this cinema specifically because this guy thought she was cute. Right? The whole time. And obviously she wasn't going to be with him because, one, he's German, soldier, known for killing all these people. And two, she had someone else in her life. Which I thought was nice. And
the biggest factor is her horrible experience.
That too. You know, she got traumatized for life. And I thought that being, using him as a way to like bring balance of like, he's the normal guy in a way. And then, but being glorified for killing all these people. But then at the same time, he's not happy about it. Right? And that to me, the whole time he was like, yeah, thank you. Wow. You know, smiling, signing autographs. But then when he's watching the actual movie, he's just like, everyone's like so excited, but he's just like ashamed. Like, you know, and to me, I was like, that was so very tastefully done, just as well, like, as this guy saying like, no, like, please don't kill me. I have a son at home. He was just born 5 hours ago. Like, we're just here celebrating. They're the ones that came in and bothered us. We were not doing anything wrong. Technically, that was true. They weren't, quote unquote, doing anything wrong. And I thought that was just really well done, because obviously I'm not defending Nazis.
Yeah, but it's hard to make a character walk the line.
But
like that.
I just really like the fact that, sadly, that, like in Jojo Rabbit, there was German people that weren't for that. 100%, they weren't. Even within them, that German guy that was drafted into the Nazi party, and they killed all these Nazi people. And that's what they went and saved him. They were like, we like your work, sir. You want to come join us? And he's like, just shook his head. Okay, welcome, sir. Because he was so totally against it. So I think that the writing really did help in that it really walked the line in a way that was like, yes, I get it. And it still didn't say like, it's okay. Feel bad for them. Like, no, but I get it. So I thought that was nice.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that I don't know, that conversation was like very interesting. But I feel like after that, I can talk about my favorite part. Yes.
I have, there's so many candidates for me of what my favorite part could be.
There's a lot. Okay, this is gonna be, it's gonna sound dumb. Okay. After everything we talked about. But my favorite scene that had me and my sister laughing so hard was when Brad Pitt and the other two guys showed up as the escort.
Gorlame.
It was so funny.
And Christoph Waltz is like, again?
Can you do it louder? And I like that she's
mocking
like,
them.
Dude,
it was so funny. He just started speaking like fluent Italian. I was dying.
Oh my! Christoph Waltz is a revelation.
Oh my! That movie had me laughing so hard, because also with the hand gestures. Yeah. Because they're Italian.
Like, the Coco. He's like,
Dominic de Coco. It's Dominic de Coco.
And there was a half a second where you're like, they can sell the... No.
Absolutely not.
Every time he'd say it, it'd be worse.
Yeah.
And then he just finished, Gorlami. I'm done.
It was really, I don't know. I just, because before then he was like, I speak Italian the best. And then there's a second guy. God. And then the other guy's like, then the other two are like somewhat decent. And he's terrible. His accent
he started saying, three of us speak Italian. One of them is decent, the other one less, the other one even less. And so then he turned out to be the one that was decent, which is not decent whatsoever.
At all.
And the third one was like, he didn't speak at all. So he's like, yeah, that's my third best.
Yeah.
Any I don't speak at all. And then I think his accent was like the most decent one out of all of us. Like, you be quiet. Yeah. And his accent was like, okay, that's not bad.
Dude, and the way that they're roped into it, the way that the guys who actually speak German get shot up and know about German film or whatever get shot up is quite funny and ironic in itself. There's so many moments in this movie that I thought the irony was just so funny, so smart, the way that it was done.
Which it upset me so much. Michael Fassbender's character, he could have just like, why did it happened twice where he got infuriated and he basically was the one I think that blew their cover.
Yeah,
even
he
though
did.
Yeah, it's like horrible circumstances. They weren't expecting any Germans to be at that bar or tavern or whatever, but he could have just like let it go and they could have probably gotten out of there, maybe, perhaps, but his anger was like, why are you over here, you drunkard? And so then that's what, found them out. And then the other time when he's trying to tell the guy to leave,
he was
the Gestapo.
Dude, that definitely for me, it was like, I would not have said that in that situation. Me with that level of German proficiency would not do that.
Do you think if he hadn't done the 3, that it would have?
I think
they would have still been found
I think
out?
it had to go the way that it went, but man,
I feel like they could have gone out if he had done the 3 differently, because it's such a German thing. I looked it up too. I had to make sure the way they count. It's not like us that we go like 1, 2, 3,
she's
4,
using her
5.
Pointer finger,
Yeah,
middle
you
finger,
can-
ring finger, pinky, then thumb.
Right, so it would be like pointer, middle, finger, pinky, and then thumb. But in German, it's like thumb, pointer, middle finger, and then you put the thumb in and take the rest of the 4 out, and then 5. I looked it up. That's how they count. So they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow,
Very
I feel
strange.
Like that's Dance Dance Revolution or
but
something.
it's really cool, and the fact that it's just such a common thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting because my sister can't. She does her 3s like the German 3 because she can't physically stretch her fingers to do the regular. Like the 3 middle fingers, she can't do that.
Yeah.
Like her pinky won't stretch that way, which is so interesting. And then when she tries to do that, then her ring finger won't stay straight. So she's always had to do the 3 like them. Which is, I find that, I don't know if maybe that's just how they do it, but that's why she's like, they noticed right away that he wasn't German. Because it's like a huge thing.
The table was completely silent. Obviously, the guy was like, he figured it out and he's silent, but everyone else kind of like knew. I feel like they knew, like Diane Kruger's character and then Michael Fassbender's and everybody else.
There were a couple of close calls, but then it was like,
we're dead.
That second of, dude, the building of the suspense in that scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, the suspense in the whole entire movie had me freaking the whole time. And I think the German guy that was sitting next to him, because I'm assuming they knew each other, right? Because there was a scene when they were talking and then the German guy remembered that he got whipped by that guy. He was having the flashback.
I don't know if it was necessarily that guy.
I thought it was him.
I don't think so.
And that guy just didn't remember him because he did that with everyone. Because I was like, I feel like German people would have known him. He was so popular.
I think what it was trying to show was just that he was just already fed up with the conversation. He wants to kill this Nazi because of the things that they did to him. And
I guess.
He was just like, his anger, his rage was coming out. Because he isn't just a German Nazi killer. I think that guy actually just had problems.
True.
And that's why he would like kill
him not
rampages.
being loquacious
enough. Yeah.
Very funny.
That was funny. I think that guy was just I don't know. I feel like weirdly enough, Michael Fassbender was my least favorite character. He was just annoying the whole time.
He was just a movie snob.
That was part of his character, though.
Yeah, I know that. I know.
To be like that,
so
that loquacious Englishman.
Even the way he spoke in English was
exactly. That was part of it.
I just wanted to
which is why it was great that Mike Myers was there too, because it was so funny having Mike Myers do his English accent in the movie. That added to the English pumpiness.
It was extreme. It was really funny. I was just like, that's because Michael Fassbender was in this. I remember the German 3, but I didn't know this is all he did. And then the whole time I was like, I hate him. The moment he spoke, I was like, I hate that guy. And he's like, I'm a film critic. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That explains it.
That makes sense.
I wonder how obviously we don't know because we don't speak German. They can tell where you're from depending on your accent from Germany. Like he said, you're from Frankfurt, you're from whatever other city, I don't know where you're from accent. And so I wonder how we know if you have an authentic Hispanic accent wherever you're from. We kind of know. I wonder how it sounds in German. Obviously, it's probably the same way. But I think that's so interesting that I'm hearing them speak German. They all sound the same. I think that's awesome.
It is very cool, but his accent did sound very different. Like from my ears, at least. Like I could hear it. Michael Fassbender is German, though, right? Like, is he fluent in German? I thought he was. I don't know. Maybe I'm just assuming.
He obviously is fluent, I think, because of seeing it in the movie.
Either did he learn it as like a first language? Because if that's the case, then he had to speak German in like in a specific accent, so that it's different than the other ones. Which I think that's pretty cool.
He's Irish German.
Okay, so potentially he does know German. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was so interesting. I think that at least the culture when it comes to that, and I really like the comment where she's like, "Oh, this is such a dumb question, but do you Americans speak anything other than English?"
That was very funny. That was
I was like,
I wrote that
right,
line down. That was funny.
We don't speak. Well, I mean, we obviously all of us speak English.
Yeah,
so,
and she was referring to the remaining, the remaining crew, but it was also like something that Americans understood as like, oh, that's kind of a jab at us too.
Yeah, and it's true. I think, who was it? I think I had a professor once, one of my math professors a couple years ago, where he has an accent and he has a thick accent, and he was like, "Sorry guys, I have a thicker accent, but I speak 5 languages." So, and we're all like, "Look, bro, most of us speak 1, so you do you." Like, you do you. He's like, "Yeah, in Europe you're expected to speak at least 2, if not 3 more if you can." And it's like, America, what the heck?
I wish I spoke 5 languages. I wish I spoke more. Like,
hey, it's not too late, man.
That's true.
I think that's so awesome to be, like, what's the word? Prolific in accent. I mean, languages. Accent.
I think someone who speaks more than 3 languages is a polyglot.
Polyglot, yeah.
Polyglot.
Yeah. Somebody that can speak. I know I follow this girl on YouTube where she likes learning languages, and she's learned multiple ones. Like, she knows Spanish, English, Portuguese, Japanese, Korean, and now she's learning Chinese.
Nice.
We need to have a Spanish language episode.
We do. We still haven't done it. That's true.
I need to practice my Spanish for like a week beforehand. My Spanish isn't great.
Spanish is
You're the most legit Spanish speaker of the 3 of us.
No, Huba speaks really good. Huba's really good at Spanish. Josh is like really proper because he speaks it like you're taught in like school.
You got that right.
And I don't really speak it ever, even though it's my first language. So I get stuck all the time.
When we do the podcast, all 3 of us are gonna be have things.
And then all the Spanish speakers are gonna be cringing the whole time.
But
they're gonna be like that Nazi officers, like, "Where are you from? Your accent's peculiar."
Right.
It's okay because I know we're gonna be better than, like, for example, Tom Segura. He does a Spanish podcast, and it sounds horrible, but he's working on it, and he's like, I think that's awesome that we should do
great.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a separate podcast where he'll do it in Spanish for a Spanish audience, Hispanic
really
audience.
Nice. I like that. That's actually really thoughtful.
And his Spanish is like horrible, but he
he's
still does it.
Trying.
So we're gonna sound at least better than that. And so I think we are.
But he's trying. That's encouraging. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Something I want to mention is the opening. The opening scene was
that would be my favorite.
Yeah,
that was my pick.
So great. It was like a really good tone setter, and man, Tarantino milks it. He really milks every. Yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah, every second, and you feel it, and the expressions, everything. I was like, wow, this is impeccable.
And like more than half of it is like in French.
Yeah, that's right.
Going into it, they're just speaking French.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's like really like reminding me of like Hitchcock or something like that, where like the suspense, like you feel it in the floorboards, like you feel it, the weight of it. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I think that a lot of that also has to do with Christoph Waltz.
Yes,
his acting. I was like, stand up, round of applause.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that this is the second film we do with him in it.
You're right.
Because he's not like the loving father as
for
in
sure,
Alita
not the loving father
at all. He was absolutely amazing. I started taking notes, and the first note was Christoph Waltz is amazing, and then the second note was the tension. That's it. No more notes because I got so into the movie.
I remember hearing Tarantino in interviews talking about when he wrote this character, being like, there's going to be no one on earth who can play this person, speak all these languages, and act the way I want. And then he found Christoph Waltz and like him being like, he exists, he's real. Like,
right.
Like that's how it feels
That's
watching
amazing.
it. Is like, this guy cannot be this guy, and he really sells it.
It's just, I love the way that he's like so jolly and nice. And just the way he's like, well, we're just going around, going through papers.
Mhm.
The way he like undoes the little pen.
Yes.
He like puts it in there, kind of like a regular HR guy trying to get your information.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, so tell me. And the whole time you're like, oh my gosh, he's going to find them. He's going to die.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to die. But
Yep.
he's like, how old is blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my gosh. The way he's so... Wait, and every scene that he's in is where we have the most tension.
Yeah,
where he's eating
you're
that
right.
little
You're
pastry
1,000,000% right.
with the girl,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Wait," and then nothing happens. You're literally just sitting, wait for the guy to come back with the cream, and he's just like, "La la la," and the girl's like, "He's gonna know. He's gonna know. He's gonna know. He's gonna know," and he's like, "Do you like it?" And
Mhm.
you're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god!" The
Yeah,
whole
and
time.
I think that his character being written the way, and Tarantino's really good at writing dialogue and writing characters. And the way that his character is like a really good statement on people in power using their power to oppress people.
Yeah.
Like, of how that happens, how that structure happens. And it's not always overt. It's not always, I'm killing the Jews in your floorboards. Sometimes it's, making you feel uncomfortable by badgering you with these questions.
Yeah.
And that, that leaves you exasperated. That leaves you on the edge. And I thought that was really powerful. And that's something that this movie did really well.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite thing. He was just absolutely phenomenal in this. And
Mhm.
personally, okay, now this is a conversation I had with my sister after, and I have to ask you guys.
Mhm.
Is he a Nazi?
Cool.
Christoph Waltz.
Or is he just like
Or
a
is he just
cynical,
trying-
power-hungry man?
Yes, as Landa.
Is Hans Landa a Nazi?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
I would say
For
so
sure.
too.
I thought so too, but for a brief second, because he like turned back on them quick. I was like, I don't care. They can die for
Oh,
all I
right,
care.
but that's what makes him even worse. Because he
it's
betrayed his own
to
country.
me, it was more of like the conversation that he had with Aldo, right? He was like, but what about your nickname? You're the Jew hunter. And he's like, actually, I don't like that nickname.
Yeah, exactly. Because in the beginning he said he loves it. See, 'cause-
right.
so that makes him even more repulsive of a
So
person.
he's just
He's a
kind of
liar.
like, he'll go where he needs to go.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought of
Mhm.
it. It's like he's in
That's
it for
how I feel
himself.
about it.
Hmm.
So I was like, is he really a Nazi? I don't think he's a Nazi in that way. It's
Because
more
he
of,
turns at the end.
right. It's more of like whatever gets me the best deal.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it, because it's like they came out and like, I'm a detective. I'm a great detective. I find people who happen to be Jewish sometimes, and I was doing fine, minding my own business. But then they came and found me in my home in Austria when I was doing my own business, and they came and found me, and then
Yeah.
I did this
I
work.
see. I can see, like, that's a really good argument, and I could lean towards it, but I still lean back towards him being Nazi because he still got all those Jewish people killed, whoever it was that
and
he helped killed, and he found them and he killed them, and he's known as the Jew hunter for a reason.
yeah,
So
I
he
do.
ends up being a Nazi who betrays his own people, because that makes him even more of like a horrible person, like, because he's
a horrible person.
he went after his best interest at the end, knowing that the Germans aren't going to win this war.
Yeah.
I might as well get something out of it.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to get out of it.
Right.
Which I thought was interesting. And actually, like I said, I had this conversation with my sister, and for a second we were like, maybe he is, and maybe he was just in it for himself. And then we came to the conclusion that if he was in it for himself and he really wasn't a Nazi, then he wouldn't have killed the actress, because
Mhm.
she's the German that turned her
Right,
back,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he
Right.
still did it.
Yeah.
He could have easily been like, okay, well, you stay here
Mhm.
and
Right.
we'll work this out. But no, like, I feel like when he was having that conversation with them and he was trying to like play with them, and he knew that he couldn't with Brad
Yeah,
Pitt's character,
mhm.
he was like, oh, this and this, and he was just like, okay, like he couldn't play with them because
Mhm.
at that point he knew that Brad Pitt wasn't somebody that he could intimidate. He's
Mhm.
like, I can intimidate this guy. Like, I can't play games with him. Like, he needs the things up front. And I feel like at that point he knew. He was like, might as well make something good out of it.
Right.
Because Brad Pitt was just looking at him like, I don't care. I don't know. His character had me laughing the whole time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're very
Hilarious.
right. Yeah.
Woo, Brad Pitt.
Everything he would say was
Everything that
great.
would come out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I was just like, this guy.
My favorite lines of his were when after the bar scene they have her on the bed and he's like putting the
Oof,
finger into the
bro,
wound
I
hole
felt
of the
that.
bullet. He like I can't remember the things he was saying, but it was so funny. He's like, oh well that makes this shoe a different color or something like that. It's like it's
It's
hilarious.
like, what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. What does
Yeah,
that even
yeah.
mean? But it's so funny.
Yeah, I just.
And it's like you're supposed to speak Italian, you barely speak English.
Yeah,
What do you
exactly.
mean?
It was just so funny. His accent came through with everything.
When
Like,
he said where he was from, he was like, "Oh, I'm Tennessee," whatever. I forget how.
Missouri.
Yeah.
He's from Missouri.
Tennessee, actually.
It was Tennessee?
Yeah,
I thought
Tennessee.
it was
No, it was like
Missouri.
Maybach, Middlebury, Tennessee.
Yeah, yeah, that's,
Oh,
that's
okay.
how it was.
Some
Tennessee.
weird-
I thought it
yeah.
was Missouri for some reason.
Yeah.
Because he's an
He's
an
from the
Apache.
Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I was like, okay. And I don't know. He was just the funniest ever. Also, VJ Novak, right?
Mhm.
Oh
I
my
never knew
gosh.
his character.
Yes.
The whole time I was like, VJ Novak. Like, he wasn't in it a lot.
Yeah.
But
Just like Sam Levine. I don't know if you guys know who Sam Levine is. Yeah, it's like he's not in a lot. He's one of the other.
Okay.
He's kind of like BJ Novak's character.
He was just there, but I knew him obviously like The Office, and he was like
Yes.
besties with Mindy Kaling. So I was like, okay, I don't know. I just thought he was funny. In the end, when he was like taking the scalp off the Jew at the end, and he's like,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. He just answered like, yeah, whatever.
I'd make
He
that
was like,
deal. I
And
wrote that down.
That
I
made me
make that
so
deal.
mad. His scalping in that he was horrible. He didn't even do it. He didn't.
Oh, the scalping,
It's
the
so
quality
funny.
of
Why
the
am I thinking
scalping?
about this? His scalping
Wow,
wasn't
that's
even
the
centered.
last
It
thing
was
I
off
thought
to
of.
the side. It wasn't even good. Like
It's
the
like
other
the
ones were
other
better.
people that were
Oh
like,
my
wow, your work is
gosh.
impeccable. Yours is garbage.
Yeah. BJ
Yeah,
Novak.
I that's the last thing I wrote. I'd make that deal while Ryan the intern is scalping a Nazi is really funny.
Yeah.
It was just so random.
It's just a
Or
random cut.
where Christoph Waltz like talking to them in that meeting, and then you see Brad Pitt kind of like his tie is undone, he's listening, and then you see VJ Novak in the background sipping on some wine, just like, dude, you're being interrogated by this guy,
Yeah,
and they're
uh-huh.
at all, they're just like chilling. It's like the funniest thing. Yeah, I
There's
think the
some
humor
there's some
was just great.
camera movements that I thought were funny. And like besides there's some cuts that were really funny, but the scene where they have when it's introducing like the one survivor that they left, their first survivor that they left in the movie.
Yeah.
And their conversation where it's like, are you gonna burn your
Yeah.
uniform? Are
Yeah,
you gonna
yeah.
hug your mama? Tell him in German, and the guy says
Yeah.
it in German. It
Oh,
goes to the guy's
yeah.
response. It
It
goes
was
back to
switched
the
between
other
four of
guy.
them.
It was
Because it was the
Yeah.
German guy, the translator,
Mhm.
Aldo Rain, and then the map.
Yes.
So it would be
Yes.
like four.
Yeah, that the camera movements there were really because it's like it's like the audience member is
You're
like
there, yeah.
super eager to
Mhm.
know what they're saying.
Yeah.
It makes it that much funnier. And there's some scenes like that I thought the camera movement was really funny, where it's like it's just like a nosy person trying to
Yeah.
figure out
Like,
what's
what is
gonna
happening?
happen.
What is
yeah.
happening?
And the guy is like, "Are you gonna tell me where they are?" And he's like, he points right away.
Yeah.
He's like, "I do not want to die. I do not want to die like
that was
other guy."
very good. Yeah, you're right.
That
you're
was really funny. I think, like I said, even although that scene was really gruesome, it was really funny at the same time. The
Mhm.
camera shots, the pointing, like he's like, how many? Oh, 12, blah blah blah. What do
Mhm.
they have? Blah blah blah. He's like, all right, that's what we wanted.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Or like when there's like, okay, next guy, and then he gets up and shoots him. He's like, come on, why did you shoot him? What? We needed him alive.
Speaking of that scene, I don't know why they introduced Eli Roth's character, the Bear Jew, the way they did.
You mean
in that
like
scene.
so drawn out?
Not
Or-
drawn out because he was already. I guess it could be the way the film was filmed, because I know, like for I mentioned Sam Levine. I saw an interview
Yeah.
with him. He was on Dan Murrow's podcast.
Yeah.
He interviewed him for Inglourious Basterds, and he was talking about behind the scenes things, and he mentioned that there were so many more scenes filmed
Yeah.
and ones that he was in, and they were obviously cut from the movie. But
Mm.
so much is filmed, and obviously Quentin, at the end, he's when he decides, okay, this is what's gonna stay.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
what's not gonna
Mhm.
stay. So I wonder, because the bear Jew was already introduced before he came out of the
briefly.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It wasn't a big introduction.
Right, it wasn't an introduction. You're right, but he was there.
I
was thinking that they would all have like a Suicide Squad type introduction where not all the characters had that.
I'm glad it wasn't like that.
Yeah, no, because the German guy had like the big like the text on it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
For me, okay, I think the introduction of him worked for two reasons. One, I had already saw him, right, and also that scene is iconic. Right, between Eli Roth
with the tapping of the bat and the camera.
Yeah, okay, so I knew who he was. So I knew he was in it. We saw him in the background. But then when I was expecting, I'm like, they're saying,
oh, you're expecting somebody else.
Yeah, I was expecting it was like a Jew, like bear Jew or whatever they call him, and I'm expecting some huge, beefy, ginormous, tall guy.
And it's not like he's like that small or
he's
whatever.
He's not that
but
small either.
It's not who I would pick.
Right, so I'm expecting like this giant, like Jason Momoa,
like
huge man.
That's
and
true.
Here walks out the random guy that was in
some
the
guy,
background.
some Bostonian guy or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, it's that guy? Are you freaking kidding me?
Would have been great if it was BJ Novak that came out.
Right,
that would be
something
quite
like that.
Yeah.
That would have been really funny, actually.
But you know what? That's true. I didn't think about it that way.
I was expecting, I was like, I'm talking like a gladiator, like this huge giant. It was just like, oh, it's just
and
some
he's
guy.
wearing like these makeshift gold medals.
Yeah,
really
like
funny.
it was just like.
Did he just finish playing catch with his dad? What was happening
yeah,
here?
like I was like, what? And he's just like, la la la, like he's gonna go play baseball, which in a way he is. So, like I said, gruesome. It still worked out for me. I was like, that's him. That's who the guy is. This guy that everyone's terrified of. Because at that point, we knew that the German people knew of them, and they were scared of specifically the bear.
Yeah, by name
they
Them,
specifically. So I imagined this huge, ginormous guy, and it's just him. And I'm like, oh.
Which Mike Myers' character, which is he says, oh, the Secret Service agents or whatever that no one knows about. The Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? Everyone knows who they are. Probably not in England where you guys are.
In German,
but like
knows
everybody
them.
knows.
Yeah.
Hitler knows them. Everyone knows them.
That's right. Yeah.
It was really funny, but yeah, I really liked his character the whole time. And like I was telling you guys earlier, I was like, even though Brad Pitt was in this movie and he's a very handsome guy, I was mostly attracted to Eli Roth for some reason. I was like, I don't know what it is.
I don't know. He has like a ruggedness, something about him.
I was like, there's something about him. I knew who he was. I've seen him before.
Boy.
But he's not pretty because Michael Fassbender's pretty.
I think Eli Roth is more pretty.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think he's prettier, Josh? I'm trying to think. I'm like, who else would be pretty? Christoph Waltz is handsome, but he's not pretty. I think he's a very handsome man.
Christoph Waltz?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I think he's handsome. There's specific words.
For me, his brain is what makes it handsome.
I get that.
Because, man, that guy can act.
Yeah, he really can. He's amazing. Isn't he in the movie Tarzan?
Tarzan, the original Tarzan from Disney?
No, the one with Alexander
Yes, he is. He's one of the antagonists. Yeah, he is. You're right.
That's right. I remember
He has a scene with Margot Robbie.
Yeah, Rob.
Where they're like eating at a table or whatever.
I've never seen it.
I forgot that movie existed.
Yeah, me too. I think about it constantly because it's like the one movie where people always like, why did he do that movie? I don't know.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
It's fine. If they have fun with it, who cares?
Like, why is Anthony Hopkins in this?
Why not?
He's so old. He's already been in so many movies. Like,
yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
He's an icon. Anyway, so I guess last thoughts. I don't know, Josh. I feel like you took a lot of notes. I took none.
Yeah.
There's more stuff.
Oh, there's one thing I wanted to mention. The projectionist cinema owner character, Shoshana. Yeah, Shoshana. Oui, oui. Gorlami.
Buongiorno.
I feel like
Buongiorno.
They're like, arrivederci. It wasn't even
Excusey. Pass it to the chair.
Pardon, he flips and falls.
That was funny. I was
like, this guy has an actual bomb attached to him.
You're right.
Tricks.
You're right. I was telling Hubert, that reminds me of a time I was in a planetarium. I showed up partway through the show and it was pitch black. It was rough.
That's
anyway,
so funny.
But yeah, the Shoshana. What did I? Shoshana.
Shoshana.
Remember? Because he was like Shoshana.
Oh yeah.
I have watched Shoshana.
Yeah.
I'll get you next time, my pretty ha ha ha, and your little dog too.
What? That's a whole.
And then he clicked his red shoes and went back to
Yes.
Hitler. That's like that's Quentin Tarantino, right? Like putting himself in the movie. Like she edits the Nazi propaganda into like her own version and kills the Nazis. Like
Oh,
that's him putting himself in the movie, right?
I guess it did give me like Kill Bill vibes for some reason when she was like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
I think putting himself in the movie was at the end, and this isn't my original thought. This is what I've heard other people say. It's at the end. He says, "I think this might be my masterpiece." When he puts the swastika on.
Oh, you know what?
Oh yeah.
I didn't consider that.
And people say, "Oh, that's him that's him kind of breaking the fourth wall."
Yeah,
saying,
and,
I think
and
this is
even
my
that
favorite
shot,
movie
even
yet."
that shot is like iconic. It's one of the,
Mhm.
it's
It
the
is.
last shot.
Yeah,
That's
it
what I
is.
thought.
It's
Yeah,
Brad
where it's
Pitt
them
with
two
BJ Novak,
looking
yeah.
down. Yeah.
Because they have the same shot with Eli Roth and Brad Pitt at the beginning
Yeah,
when
he
they're
says
introduced.
you're getting really good at this.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
You're
then
right.
the one
yeah.
after that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually, okay, this sounds weird, but I'm kind of like low key here for that type of like. I'm like, oh, you want to take that uniform? Don't worry. We'll remind everyone you're a Nazi.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
I
I
think
can
that's
respect that. I'm okay with that.
Oh, also the scene where Shoshana.
Shoshana?
I feel so hesitant to say her name.
It's okay. Samuel L. Jackson butchered her name in the movie.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
like,
his-
Shoshana or
His
something. I forget how he says
narration.
it. Yeah.
His narration came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, there's narration in this?
That
He's
was
like
so
That-
funny.
Shoshana or something like that.
Or you could
That
call
was
her
so great.
Manuel.
Yeah.
That's her name.
Yeah. Emmanuel Mimou.
Emmanuel, that's what it is.
Emmanuel Mimu.
When she
J'adore le cinéma.
oui oui. When she dies,
Bonjour, no.
Gorlami. That's our conversations in French.
Arrivederci. Oh my god.
Gorlami sounds
That
like
scene-
a meat.
Yeah.
Gorlami meats.
That's still my favorite scene the
Gorlami.
whole
Ale
time.
Mimou.
It's because of his accent never changed. The minute he said arrivederci, I was dying. Ooh, that was too funny. Sorry, Josh, you were saying.
Yeah, when she died,
Yeah,
well, before she died, when she shot
the guy,
Private First Class, Frederick.
Frederick.
When she shot Frederick and the music kicked in, I was like, what? It was like some dramatic. I was like,
yeah.
what is
Mhm.
this
Why is that
music?
playing? Yeah.
Yeah, I actually wrote a country song to the music, and then she got. By the
was
time I
funny.
finished writing my song, she died and got shot. I was like, oh, that's what the music. It was like a subversion.
Yeah. Trying to throw
Interesting moment. It did throw me off. I forgot that that happened, but yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the type of thing that I was really proud of it. My little song in the moment, but
It worked in the
Wow.
moment because the music's going. The music was going, and you're singing to the music. But I
Oh,
guess
so you did a whole thing.
yeah, I wrote a song.
You
But
want
how
to
does it
sing
go?
it?
okay, I need someone to give me some Tarantino music. And I killed my Nazi boyfriend. He shot me in the stomach. My plan to burn his bosses is going down the toilet.
Wow,
And they're both dead on the floor.
That's more verses than more words. I mean that I remember.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
great.
I
You
was
worked-
gonna
you
do
worked hard on that.
a pre-chorus and a bridge, but
Wow.
then they were both
But then
dead.
she died.
Yeah.
It was in a way a little poetic.
Mhm.
The way the shot was done, the way they were dressed, it was a little. I was like, what? That's actually kind of poetic. And in that brief second, the whole thing, he just wanted to be loved. He was going through a lot. He was like, I'm watching these people watch with glee the way I murdered and lost my humanity. And I don't want to live that. And
Yeah.
then she's like, I don't want to be with you. Which, you know, if
And
a
then
girl says
all that
no.
flies out the window when he like opens
Yeah.
the door
Yeah,
on her and
I
hurts
was
her.
like, in that
Yeah.
moment, I was like, I was not rooting for you, but at least I didn't hate you.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, like, if a girl says no, it's
Mhm.
no, bro. Just
But
let
he's
it
not used to it.
go.
Yeah.
Ever since he's become a star, it's always he's
Yes.
become. Yeah, he has the yes men around him. you know?
Right.
That's right, yeah.
And she was like, nah, fam, because, you know, you're
Even
entire...
high-ranking officials.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
do what he
Yeah,
wants,
that's
yeah.
true. So it's like, she's like, no, fam, I don't want to be with you. And I thought that was like, And even when he like she shoots him and you can tell she's like feels bad about it.
Mhm.
Like she's like he didn't deserve for me to kill him. In a weird way, she was like I shouldn't have shot him. But then at the same time, it's like when she got close to him and like kind of like to make sure if he was dead, I was like, girl, that's stupid. He gonna shoot you. And
But
I'm like,
for that to be during the gunshots in the movie,
yeah,
was another case of that like that delicious irony, you know.
because you
Maybe if
couldn't
you
hear
hadn't
it.
killed so many Italians, I wouldn't have shot you right now. You know, I don't know. Who knows?
Right. I mean, who knows? And also, like, the same thing happened with the other two guys where they shot the bodyguards and then they started shooting everyone else because it happened during the shooting of everything else. Because at the end, my sister and I were like, would this have worked out the way it did if the bastards hadn't shown up? Like, she would have still burned the place because they didn't know of each other, but it still worked out perfectly. So I thought, I was like, would it have worked out? And then my sister was like, well, yeah, I think that her plan would have worked. And I'm like, well, yeah, but they were the ones that shot the bodyguards. They're the ones that shot Hitler. They're the ones that, in a way, killed the main people. And then she just made sure that everyone else died.
Yeah, and I have to address this too. Like, Nazis being burned up and shot is also like an ironic death.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, it's like
burned up and like
yeah.
the irony of the things they've done. It's like I thought that was actually really interesting, and I think that's why she did it like that as well. And she knew that.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. I was like, okay, I can see that.
Oh, but you know what? And something else that was really funny to me, you can tell Tarantino just had so much fun making that fake movie of the German sniper and whatever.
Yeah,
like,
he would have to be the one making it. Yeah, that's fine.
That fake movie, it was so over the top.
Yeah, it was.
Like more than
so many cuts
more than the
and-
movie that it's in.
Yeah.
It had to outdo that. It was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I thought
It's like an even more absurd parody of German Nazism than was already present in the movie.
That's cool. And I really did like a lot of the German cinema that was mentioned, and like how it was trying to, like how they were trying to in a way rewrite cinematic history in Germany based on what was happening. I thought was just touches of that, which did happen. I thought was so interesting.
Yep.
It was, I don't know, I thought it was cool. I think that this film has a lot of little details everywhere that was really, really nice. Especially, and also there were a couple things that I liked too, like Shoshana being, like, I don't know how she got the cinema, right? We never really know.
Yeah,
Does she know?
Yeah.
She explains
I
that
think
it
it
took her
may
aunt.
actually be her aunt and uncle, but that they died from being.
I don't think so,
I don't
because
know.
when she was speaking with the projectionist
Marcel.
Marcel, when she was talking to him, she mentioned Mrs. whatever her name has this many nitrate films. So she didn't call her like my aunt or
Yeah.
like aunt this or like by she
Yeah,
said
that's
Mrs.
right.
Which is
as in, like,
interesting.
she knew her as like some
In a
lady that
personal level.
brought her in.
Yeah.
Because he's also he's black. So
That's true.
that was interesting. The fact that I was like, because I remember I'm like Brenda, he's black. Wasn't like they were part of the people that they would take in. So I would assume. And then she's like, well, yeah, there were people of color in France at the time. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so I'm assuming that he had his papers and everything was okay. But even then, obviously, he was prejudiced against.
Yeah.
That's what they're like. Oh, when everybody comes, you do the projection, not him.
Well, yeah, because they're Nazis.
No, I know. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say. So I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting that whoever this lady is obviously took both of them in,
All
and
right,
then
yeah,
they
yeah.
fell in love, and their goodbye was sad.
Mm.
That was sad, but man, they were both like. I like that she's like, I'm gonna burn it
But
down.
he'd been there since the beginning of the film, of the theater.
Yeah.
'Cause she mentioned that he was working for her
Yeah.
aunt and uncle,
Yeah.
quote unquote.
So I mean,
since the beginning
they
of the
fell
theater.
in love or whatever, and then even when she's like, I'm gonna burn it all down, he was looking at her like, that's stupid, and he's like, you know, you're not gonna let me do this alone, and he's like, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. Because the whole time you don't really know.
Yeah.
She's always like, my love, or like this and that, very like that. But I'm like, they're French. Maybe they're just friendly people. I don't know.
No,
At
they're,
the
they're
end,
definitely lovers.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And-
They were a couple
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
They
So-
had their,
I was like, their goodbye was sad.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm done.
And
I feel
Frederick's
like
trying to hit on her, and I'm like, get out of here. She's got a man.
what she did, a very nice man. He looked like a great
She
guy.
didn't play him, though, because she got, well, I guess she didn't want to play him, but at the end
She had to.
she did. he did get played because all the Nazis got killed.
Yeah, he played
Because he's
himself.
trying to get a girl. Yeah, exactly. He played himself.
That's
what-
right. He played himself.
My grammar went out the window.
You said it perfectly. You played himself. You said
I
like
became
Gorlami.
Gorlami.
Aldo would have been very proud of you.
Oh, but yeah, I want to say that this is one of my favorite Tarantino movies. I'd say maybe Kill Bill is probably top for me, but I love
First
that,
or the second, or both of them together?
both together.
Okay.
But it's close. It's really close. For me, I love that it's just like it's a lot of plot.
Yeah.
Like the way it's structured, even in
Mhm.
chapters and whatever.
Yeah,
like,
that was cool.
I think that gives it a constant through line that kept me interested all the way through, as opposed to some other movies of his. I feel like the characters meander or go off on too many side missions or whatever that I kind of lose the thread of what I'm even supposed to be paying attention to. And that's not a popular opinion. That's just my personal taste
Yes.
for a lot of his movies. But this one I enjoy quite a bit because of the structure of it.
Yeah.
And the story was really compelling. The characters, top notch. The dialogue, the suspense is great.
Yeah.
Quite gory,
I agree.
but-
yeah, I agree. I'm not huge on the plot stories. And I still, the whole time, I was like really in there. Like, I didn't even notice it was 2 hours and a half.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
by
For
the
me,
end,
it flew
I was
by
like,
too.
that
Yeah,
was so long. But you couldn't even feel it. It's like, that was fantastic
Yeah.
all the way through.
Yeah, the gripping the whole way. Just in that first scene, you're in.
I know, you're
once
like,
you finish that first scene, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
how this is gonna end.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
And it
Fantastic.
circles back on itself really
Mhm.
well.
yeah, I thought it was actually, yeah, I don't think any of his films are my favorite personally. But I think, in my opinion, this is the one I like the most
Mhm.
out
Great.
of all of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I think that's about it. I mean, I don't have any more thoughts. I feel like I've said it all.
Okay. But what about Gorlami?
It's arrivederci. Okay? That's what did it for me. That was, I could watch that scene forever. That thing's
That's
amazing.
great.
I
That's so
loved
funny.
it so much.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Hube?
great, fantastic, love it.
Great pick, man. This was an awesome
Yeah.
pick.
Yeah. Did
Very
yourself
good
this
choice.
time. Making that movie.
Wait.
What? I made it.
Wow.
I don't remember this.
talented.
Wow, I must have been like 16 or something when it.
Wow,
Yeah.
you
How
are
old
a
was I?
prodigy then
Wow.
at that point. With all, how did you get that money?
Dude, Brad Pitt.
Gorlami.
You got Gorlami money.
Christoph Waltz. All right, guys. Well, I think this is it. We're gonna finish it. Obviously, this episode was a bit longer, but it was definitely worth it for the conversations
We've
we
had
had
longer.
for this. Yeah, we've had longer. We're trying to keep them shorter, but sometimes,
Hey,
they're necessary.
you're right. You're right.
Anyway, so let us know what you guys think of this film. If you've seen it, if you haven't, I don't know what the heck you're doing. Though if you don't like gore, maybe stay away from it.
Yeah.
It's a great film, but if it's not for you, I'm not here to push anyone to watch movies they don't want to.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's all good. But if you don't care, watch it. It's fantastic. Give it a rewatch, and it's definitely worth it. I think it would be awesome if you watch it after we talk about this, so you can be like, wow, I watched it with you guys.
Oh,
That would be nice.
Or you
Anyway.
could have us on as commentary while you're watching the film. Just
Okay.
have
Because
our
it's not in order
voices
at all.
in the
it's
background.
just gonna be us saying Gorlami 100 times.
On repeat. Anyway, hey, I think that's it. Definitely join us next time. We're excited. The next time we get together for another movie, it's gonna be my pick. So I'm very excited. A little different than this one, but not by much. All
Awesome.
right. So thank you guys again for listening. We really appreciate all you do. Make sure to find us on YouTube. Watch the clips, the episodes. Make sure to like, subscribe, share. Also find us on Instagram and, of course, on every other streaming service for podcasts. And, once again, thank you. Like, follow, write a review on Apple Podcasts. That would be awesome. We
And
would
don't
appreciate
Gorlami.
it. Yes. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Take care, and we'll see you next time.